good day out there. It's an AI Thursday on the gang. We're going to talk about AI PCs, AIs in DevOps, AI infrastructure wars, cybersecurity in the age of AI, and even more AI. Am I an AI? You're watching Techstrong Gang. Hi, everyone. Welcome here to Techstrong Gang. Of course, I'm Alan Schimmel, editor-in-chief, founder, CEO of Techstrong. And we are, as I said at the beginning, we got an AI Thursday for you today. And, you know, this is happening more and more as AI seems to be taking more and more space in our minds, in our work lives, and in everything. So, got a bunch of AI stuff, but before we jump into this AI, let me introduce you to some real people, or at least I think they're real, but who knows? They could be deep fakes. First of all, joining us from across the pond, which is a little different where he usually sits right here to my left, is our Chief Content Officer, Mike Vizard. Hey, Mike, where are you still? Are you in UK or I forget where you were?
I'm in Barcelona. So.
Oh, that's right, Barcelona.
Having a lovely time here in the Mediterranean.
Good for you. Thanks for taking time out of your busy Barcelona days. I get the siesta time there to join us. Thanks for coming on.
You're standing in my way of my paella, but we're good.
All right, we're good. Well, they don't eat dinner till 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night anyway. Well, going from Barcelona to high up in the Rocky Mountains, it's our CTO and principal research analyst, Mitch Ashley. Hey, Mitch, welcome back.
Good to be here. About as far from the ocean as you can get. So
you are
balancing being, near the shore.
But they do have Rocky Mountain oysters there.
We do. Plenty of those. Come on.
Plenty of them. Okay. And then that's the kind of thing, that's what AI does to me. And then joining me right here to my left is our Echo Insights editor and resident experts on all things green and sustainable and a bunch of other stuff, the one and only Bonnie Schneider. Hi, Bonnie.
Hi, Alan. Thanks for having me here.
Great to have us on. So that's our gang for today, guys. And as I mentioned, we're going to talk AI. First of all, people come to Techstrong and Techstrong Gang to stay up to date on the latest news. On our Tuesday show, if you haven't caught Tuesday's show, it's available on Techstrong TV. We actually did a whole segment with Stephen Foskett of Tech Field Days on the rise of the AI PC. No sooner had we recorded that, within a day, Microsoft puts out a big announcement that their AI PC is now, it's real. The new Surface that they're coming out with is going to have a lot of Copilot and OpenAI and generative AI functionality built in it. Mitch, you were with me on Tuesday when we discussed this with Steven. We were talking about it in the future, but that seems to be how quickly AI is evolving now. Is no sooner is it out of your mouth, it's real.
Well, I think there was a Windows machine in the loop somewhere there, so the Satya heard us and said we better get our announcement out there quick.
Yeah, right. The gang's talking about it. We better rush it out. I hope we didn't cause them to rush it out too early.
Let's not mess with stuff. Well, I can just imagine what that'll mean for stock price watching in the future. But anyway, that's all another problem.
We could be the next fools or Motley.
Wait, I wish any of that was true, but it's not because, with Microsoft, you have to parse the word is with them. They're kind of like Bill Clinton that way. And so you got to look at the finer details because as far as I can tell, a lot of this stuff isn't actually going to be in your hands till, maybe next year if you're lucky. But
is it one of those?
Yeah, so they did a big announcement, but I kind of smell like, maybe they were trying to preempt somebody else is going to do something interesting soon, but
shades of Google.
Honestly, right. Mike, I think part of it, to your point, is to get ahead of all the hardware announcements. All we're talking about is hardware, with IBM and Dell and, anybody that's in the hardware space. And not that that's the only thing happening in AI, but it seems to be dominating our topics here, at least of late.
Yeah, I watched the first part of the Microsoft Build conference this week, and I thought I was watching a hardware company for like 30 minutes or so. I mean, basically, it was all about the silicon that they're building in the cloud and all the capabilities that enables. So, Microsoft is fully integrated now in terms of hardware and software. So it's hard to say that they're just a software company anymore. But again, when you go through all the announcements from them, there's this thing is announced, but then you get down a little bit further and it's like a private preview. And then they actually have another level of preview called a public preview. And then they get around to saying something's generally available. So a lot of this stuff is kind of sort of here, but some of it is even just, a demo or a proof of concept still. So,
No, I was just going to say on the subject of hardware, one of the interesting sustainability aspects of Microsoft's announcements was extended battery life on their different devices. And, we talk a lot about AI and how it's using a lot of power, and they talked about that too. And I'll get to that probably later. But I thought it was interesting that on the hardware side, a big problem is the electronic waste and how that accumulates. So if you have a longer battery life, you're going to have your different devices longer, and you're likely to keep them on board, and you won't have to dispose of them as much. So they did make that announcement regarding the hardware related and sustainability, and made a lot of other announcements as well.
We're going to cover some other AI Microsoft related news, but guys, I do think Microsoft maybe tried to jump the shark out in front of this AI-enabled devices frenzy that we're seeing. And again, we discussed this in a previous Techstrong Gang, which is, can we, with the new processors, whether it's the M4 from Apple or this new Surface chips or the Intel or the AMDs or Qualcomms or what have you, we are going to be using AI on our device, not just using the device to get to AI in the cloud. And to do that, it's going to rev up the next cycle of hardware innovation. And look, I'll tell you something. Look, AI is driving hardware innovation more than anything we've seen probably in 25 years or more. Right? I don't think I've seen this much discussion and innovation and stuff coming on hardware.
Maybe virtualization was the last thing.
Yeah,
really changed.
Maybe 2004, 2005, right? I mean, because we had come to the point where, look, Moore's law was not going to be able to. We couldn't do Moore's law anymore. It just wasn't keeping up. We couldn't double the every cycle like this, and this has opened up a whole new hardware, and it's a good thing, right? I mean, yes, right now, NVIDIA seems to be the prime benefactor of it, but it's opening up new hardware competition in an industry that really needed the competition and really needed something to rev it up because, quite frankly, it was getting stale.
I think we can assume that Apple is going to be doing something similar in the near future. But to Bonnie's point, I'm scratching my head a little bit because, when are we going to, let's randomly say that a billion people on this planet have some sort of device. Are a billion people going to upgrade their devices to get some AI capabilities? And where will all that gear go? Is it going to get buried somewhere? I mean, it's just going to be a massive forklift.
That's a good question, Mike. And it, look, there are certainly a lot of Apple fanboys, right, who will upgrade to the latest, greatest Apple device because it has AI on it. And there'll be Microsoft fanboys who say, give me an AI-empowered Surface. I want the latest and greatest Surface. But I don't think, I think that's that, if you look at the crossing chasm model, I think that's that 15% are early adopters. I think the mainstream folks, they're going to upgrade in their normal upgrade cycles.
Yeah, but there's cost as well. Do they want to invest?
Right.
They have to be a diehard.
Right. They've got to be fanboys or really early adopter types to upgrade just because it has the AI hardware. Now, that being said, Mitch, have you ordered yours yet?
I believe the delivery person had just showed up. Excuse me.
Yeah. Because Mitchell and I do that.
We're bad. So here's the thing. I haven't followed. I mean, Snapdragon has had some AI capabilities. The A chip series that powers the iPhones. And iPads up until the recent announcements around the iPad Pros. But in the M series, for certainly, they've all been reporting, so many teraflops of NPU capacity. And up to this point, I've always asked myself, so what is that doing? So it has a neural engine in the CPU, but what is it being used for? Is it sitting there nascent for the day when we can actually, really want to take advantage of it? Maybe that day's arrived. They certainly haven't touted what they've been using it for to any great extent. So to your point, there's some nascent capability that might be in existing devices, maybe the last 1, 2, maybe a third generation. But more likely, the more we use it, it's going to drive a lot more neural processing that we're going to need in our remote device, no doubt.
Absolutely. And so the bottom line is, going through the normal upgrade cycles in 2 to 3 years, 80%, 75% of devices will be AI empowered at the device level, and the rest will use AI from up in the clouds. And that's the reality of it. Microsoft, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mike.
So I am a Windows fanboy. I prefer it over Apple and have forever and a day.
Yeah.
But I am not ever probably going to run Windows 11. So somebody better come up with Windows 12 if they want me to upgrade, because 11 ain't going to be the magic number.
Why? What do you got against 11?
I don't know.
You heard it here.
It's just a clunkier experience. It's not nearly as trim, and the workflow is much better on the way the operating system works. Windows 11 is like everything is not only somewhere different, it's just in the wrong place. So I think, somebody tried to make Windows 2 Apple-y. And if I wanted Apple, I would have gotten Apple in the first place. So
you're saying it's the Vista, the new Vista of Windows operating system?
Yeah. It may be, most companies I know are still running Windows 10, have not upgraded to 11. And so I think we're going to have to wait for Windows 12 to make everybody happy.
Well, either that or just don't make Copilot run on Windows 10. Mm-hmm. That'll force upgrades.
So the cloud may alleviate this, Alan, but I was just thinking, in the gaming world, what drove all of this early development of, NVIDIA and GPU chips is, of course, a gamer's experience. And it's been true for quite a time that the person who had the best graphics card and the least latency in their connection, in their keyboard and mouse, all that kind of, those are all factors in people competing. I wonder if there's an analog now. Maybe a little less so with the cloud if we're doing AI in the cloud too. But am I going to have a competitive advantage over Alan if I have, the Apple iPhone 16 and he's still back on the 15? Or, are we going to have that kind of?
So I think if AI is being done on the device, not in the cloud. Yeah, it's going to make a difference whether you have an M4 or an M5.
Maybe that'll drive us to upgrade.
So let me. I saw this demo at the Microsoft Build conference. So let me just show you how possibly AI might ruin gaming. So it was a lovely idea. They basically showed how a dad could use Gen AI to play a game with his son, so the dad could keep pace with their son to play the game. The problem is Gen AI was making up all the moves and all the things, so the dad wasn't really playing the game. He was just executing the stuff that the AI told him to go do. And at some point, it's like, well, I might as well just watch the game to play this thing. And, I'm not really playing because my AI is just, I'm the monkey sitting there punching the data in from the AI advice. So I kind of think that gaming may become a little less fun and a little less interactive, or people will have to turn off their AI engines, or maybe we'll just go back to board games. Who knows?
Well, you know what? I'm totally unrelated, but I'm going to relate it. I was talking to a friend of mine who just got back from Las Vegas. He saw the new Dead & Company show at the Sphere for 3 nights that he was there. Saw it 3 times.
Wow.
And we were talking about it. The Sphere is amazing. For those of us who've seen it from the outside, it looks cool, but it is really cool when you go inside and you're at an event. But my friend relayed to me that using it just to play movies up on the Sphere is, during the concert, is child's play. What really happens is they're going to make it sort of a giant AR, a group AR experience, right? with the haptic feedback seats and the sound system and that immersive screens around you, everyone, I forget if it's 10 or I forget how many thousands of people are in the sphere of the show, is going to be immersed into this virtual VR, not AR, a virtual reality experience that's going to transport them wherever you want, whether it's in space, underwater, or what have you, while this event, this show takes place. I think the same thing for the gaming industry, right? Nature abhors a vacuum. Gamers and game designers will use every last ounce of horsepower in the hardware they have to enhance their user experiences. So now we start putting AI-enabled chips on the devices. They'll start designing, games that harness that and make just an amazing, even a more amazing experience than we have now. There's no lack of imagination when it comes to the gaming industry.
All right, we have to apply augmented reality to Techstrong TV then and see where this goes.
Can you do something to give me some hair, baby? But anyway,
you all are in 3D. I can see you now. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Is that an M4? Anyway, let's talk. Microsoft had some other news around AI, and that's around DevOps workflows, one of our favorite subjects. And basically, there's an article out at DevOps.com you can check out. But, they're embedding Copilots into GitHub and a lot of the Azure DevOps functionality, and this seems to be, look, this is Microsoft's new standard operating procedure, right? They make a Copilot for everything. So you can assume everything Microsoft has in Azure is going to have a Copilot, everything from, setting up to running to maintaining to monitoring and managing, all be, Copilot augmented. And I think that's the way of the world. I think Microsoft's not the only cloud provider who's going to be doing this.
Yeah, they're going to be.
No,
I was just going to say that one of the other announcements related to that is that they're going to be offloading a lot of the Copilot's AI use to the Azure to reduce the local energy that's used for it as well. So, and also all the data centers are going to be powered by renewable energy. They announced that as well.
Really?
Yeah, and particularly cool. In Finland, where they're going 100% and recycling the heat to implement heating within the data center. So it's really interesting, some of the technology that they're using.
Yeah, that's efficient. Mike, what do you have?
To Alan's point, I'm actually here with Guy Courier, who works for Futurum, and he just, observed that it was amazing that Gen AI and Copilots went from the most amazing technology in the world to table stakes, right? Everybody is going to have a capability, and if they're not, they're just going to fall behind and be, left in the dust. So, because people have now come to, I think, expect that whatever new thing that they have is going to come with some sort of AI agent built in that automates all these tasks. And a lot of the people I talk to are like, most of the stuff that they're automating is crap I don't want to do in the first place.
Agreed.
I can relate to that, because the AI that comes up sometimes when you're not asking for it. I just upgraded on my Google phone, and now every second I'm getting,
that's Google. Yeah, they're AI and everything. So look, I'm seeing it on everything from LinkedIn and Facebook to I was actually doing something for the HOA where I live, and I prepared a little email for our newsletter, and MailChimp came up and said, they don't call it Copilot. They got something else. But it's the same thing. And it rewrote it for me. It did a hell of a nice job. But again, we look at it as, not you, Bob, but an older person like myself, or Mitch or Mike Vizard, we look at it and say, oh my God, this is radical. I think people coming into the workforce now are going to start looking at it as, of course, that's the way it's supposed to
Definitely.
be. And God forbid their AI doesn't work. Are they going to be able to write anything?
Probably not.
I think it becomes table stakes, to your point, Mike. Conversation with Guy is when we don't pay an extra $20 a month for AI co-pilots, right? How many of those freaking things can I afford? By the way, airplanes only have one co-pilot, so I'm not sure why I need a co-pilot for every app that I use. But that's a different problem.
That is an ongoing debate.
And understanding.
Well, again, something we discussed Tuesday, Mitch. Do you have one AI or multiple AIs?
Exactly.
I just want one personal AI who does everything for me.
The challenge of multiple is they don't do the same things, and of course, how you work with them isn't the same. Getting the best results out of each, you kind of have to tailor. So,
one throat to choke, or
I think it's going to be an episode of Downtown Abbey, right? There's going to be one master butler, that's the agent, and then there's going to be a lot of helpers that run around, and the master butler tells everybody else what to do.
All right. Hey, guys, I got to end this. We're way over for this block. We still got a lot more to talk about. You're watching Techstrong Gang. All right, we're back here in our studios in Boca Raton with Techstrong Gang. We've got Mike Vizard in Barcelona, Mitch Ashley up in Denver. And our next topic on this AI Thursday is AI infrastructure wars. Mike, who's fighting?
Everybody, which is pretty amazing. The issue is that they all think that because the data is sensitive and there's compliance rules, that a lot of folks are going to opt to run AI workloads in on-premise environments. It's kind of like the revenge of the data center, and they may train in the cloud, but the issue is that the inference engine needs to run as close to the point where the data is, and the data is going to be at the edge, or it's going to be in some sort of data center where most of that data still exists. And that's going to require better hardware and server upgrades. And everybody's betting on it. Dell Technologies World, the whole show was basically about their infrastructure for AI workloads. Nutanix is here in Barcelona, echoing a similar theme in terms of launching a GPT in a box, they call it, which is bring your own LLM and run it on their boxes. IBM is out banging the same drum on hardware, and anybody who sells servers, I mean, HPE is not too far behind on the same conversation. Is just now saying, folks, hey, we think that this is the year of proof of concepts, and next year you're going to need brand new hardware, and it's a feeding frenzy out there.
You know, it is, Mike, and it's, I think with so much happening all at once right now, it's really hard to differentiate between what's better about Dell's offerings versus IBM's versus, we talked about Microsoft earlier, Nutanix. It's interesting that most of the announcements included both hardware things, alliances and working with this GP or this vendor, but also like Hugging Face, providers of LLMs, and Meta with their Llama LLM. So there's a software side of this, an AI element of it that isn't just hardware that are being announced in parallel. So again, it's a lot changing all at once. I have trouble sorting it out to say which one's in the lead. I think we're just kind of watching the horses, and we're still in the second turn.
Yeah, to your point, there isn't really a good set of performance metrics for LLMs and inference engines in general. So I think everybody's just going to have to kind of wing it and hope for the best. And you're buying not so much on performance as much as you're kind of being like, well, who do I trust and don't trust? And
who am I betting on? Yeah.
Right.
You know, I think because a lot of this is so new and it's evolving so quickly, there is a lot of just, we're betting on horses here, and don't tear up your tickets because there may be whatever they call it, when they look at the horse rate. Yeah, it could be a photo finish too.
But, well, Bonnie, you'll be happy to know that everybody at the very least is now including energy consumption tools in their infrastructure servers so that we can at least see how much carbon we're burning as these AI workloads run. I'm not sure we can do much to reduce them. But
I agree. I saw that in a lot of the announcements as well. So it is becoming impaired, probably because a lot of the regulation that's coming in that we have to be more aware of that. So good point, Mike.
I think the question is, are people going to pay more money for a greener solution?
Well, the greener solutions folks will tell you that they're going to save money by implementing those.
Yes, they are. But
they're
you know,
all,
I think
they're all over here in Europe with me today. So
Exactly.
I'm sure.
It may just become baked in. I mean, Bonnie, it kind of seems to me of more of everybody. It's kind of like the energy efficient monitor, right? It's just part of the environment we work in. I think that hopefully that's a good thing because then they're all doing it, benefiting from it.
You know, to me, though, it's kind of like when you go to buy an appliance and you have that yellow tag on it.
Energy efficient.
The energy efficiency numbers. Does that affect your buying decision, or do you look what's on sale or what brand it is? Like, how much of that is, you know, is that the main factor? Not a main factor, but how big a factor is that in your decision? I mean, I'd like to say it's going to be a big factor. I guess.
I don't know. I get through a lot of factors before I get to the little green tag on the bottom of the thing. It's usually I'm down to my last justification for one.
Yeah. Well, this one's going to say this one's greener than that one. I get it. But we need to change that, right? Especially when we're talking about the kind of numbers we're talking about here. You know, when you look at like data center markets and our ability to produce enough electricity to power all of these things. So.
Yeah. I think this will be a function of cost at the end of the day. I mean, to be honest, these things are expensive to run. The electricity is not free. It's costs a fortune to run servers at very high capacity and utilization rates. And also, you know, those machines tend to burn out faster the more you use them. They're not, you know, totally immune to the fact that as the workloads increase, the parts give out more, and so we'll have to buy them more frequently. There's all kinds of hidden costs in this little AI thing that are going to add up.
I agreed. You know, we'll see it coming. Our next topic, though, it's I think going to be a long one, guys. So if it's okay, I'd like to take another quick break here and come back and let's discuss cybersecurity in the age of AI. You're watching Techstrong Gang.
DevOps.com is the #1 online destination for DevOps education and community building. DevOps.com covers all aspects of DevOps, including DevOps best practices and tools, DevOps culture, DevSecOps, business impact, continuous testing, continuous delivery, and more. DevOps.com has the largest collection of original DevOps content, featuring breaking news, blog posts, podcasts, and more. Visit www.devops.com to learn more. DevOps.com, where the world meets DevOps.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We're going to be talking about the CISO impact or considerations when it comes to AI in their world, particularly around Gen AI. There's a really good article in Security Boulevard by Nathan Eddy talking about CISOs reconsidering their roles along with some other aspects. Alan, I know we've talked a lot about the role of the CISO kind of pre-impact of AI and how much that's changed from a technologist to someone who can work, you know, at a senior executive level with business leaders, et cetera. But it seems like CISOs are also looking at, is AI a potential solution to my staffing issue? Is it something, what do I do to help combat against ransomware, et cetera? So at least it's on their radar and they're kind of rethinking things at the moment, it seems like.
I think they are. You know, my attitude is AI is having such a profound impact on everything. Why do we not think it's not going to have, you know, this kind of impact in cybersecurity? But I think as it relates to cybersecurity and AI, it's a double-edged sword. One is using AI to make our cybersecurity better, and one is defending against AI-empowered bad guys to try to keep us safer. In terms of utilizing AI, I think what we saw was a tremendous burst of innovation within the cybersecurity industry of companies that were making AI-empowered, AI-enabled tools to get into the next buying cycle in security. And as we saw at RSA, for those of us out there, you know, there's been a little bit of pushback of companies saying, hey, we just went through several buying cycles in cybersecurity and we really don't feel a hell of a lot safer. I'm not sure we're down for yet another buying cycle. But a funny thing happened on the way. Now, all of a sudden, you've got Palo Alto making this deal with IBM, and they're going to use Watson, and they're going to go big into AI-empowered cybersecurity. Cisco, not Cloudflare. Well, Cloudflare too, but their thing is the Hawk. CrowdStrike. Yeah. CrowdStrike making announcements around AI-empowered security. I did an interview with the CEO at Veracode and what they're doing around AI for AppSec.
And Active State, the podcast I'm producing for them, we have an episode that relates to AI. And the topic came up in this 6-part series several times.
So now this
testing just launched a Copilot. So yeah, it's everywhere, every sector.
But this becomes a very familiar pattern within cybersecurity, which is the big guys don't really innovate. They buy innovation. So all of these little newer companies that have come out, even a company like Active State, which is 20 years old, right, winds up becoming attractive in the M&A space to a bigger, big fish eat little fish. And these big fish are going to want that innovation. And traditionally in cybersecurity, that comes from the startups, the A round, B round startups, where innovation and R&D kind of takes place. And so it's going to, meet the old boss same as the new, or meet the new boss same as the old boss. This is a familiar script that we've seen play out in cyber and security for as long as I've been around.
I think there's a calculation to be made. The bad guys going to have AI tools faster than the good guys because the good guys are waiting on budget and the bad guys have infinite budget. And so if I'm a CISO, and this article kind of points it out, but I'm having a gut check moment where I'm like, do I want to fight this fight for the next year? Because it's going to get ugly. And a lot of times I'm going to be blamed for everything.
I think it's really valid, Mike. And that's been a concern, right, is kind of the visibility of the CISO elevated because security and the attacks impact the business is elevated. So is the risk in the job. It's kind of used to be the CIO was a CIO for more than 6 months. You beat the averages. And maybe we're going to have a new thing like that for CISOs. What I'm envisioning, though, is that every person around the executive table, all the functions in the organization, everybody, if they are being asked, they need to ask themselves, what is AI going to affect us, and how would we, be offensive or proactive, and figure out how we leverage it as opposed to letting it just impact us and maybe wipe us out or define what we have to be. I'm not saying everybody has to live on the bleeding edge, but I got to imagine every business leader is saying, I want to know in each one of your departments, how is this affecting you? What should we be doing? I don't mean just buying more security stuff. Is this a solution to our staffing issues? Is there some other things we could do to eliminate the toil and spend our resources on something else, regardless of the department?
I want to see the day come when a business executive is fired because of some cybersecurity issue, because we're holding the wrong people accountable. It's not like the cybersecurity guy set up the flawed applications and created the mess in the first place. They're just trying to minimize the chaos. But we seem to blame the poor CISO when, in what I can see, it's, some IT guy or some vice president of a business unit who kind of messed this whole thing up in the first place.
So you're saying the CFO ought to get fired for not allocating enough money to it?
I think maybe the CISO might be the last one on the firing line.
Does that mean that they have to have more internal communication and because of the new threats that AI poses? Maybe who is going to be the person that we're going to go, obviously everyone has their own responsibility, but coordinating it so there's no lapses.
Theoretically, part of the CISO's job is setting up processes and policies so that he has visibility into how the VP of IT or the director of product, what they're doing that could impact the company or organization from a cybersecurity perspective. The fact that he's flying or he or she is flying blind and doesn't have that insight is reason for them to lose their job, as far as I'm concerned.
I think we're entering another age. Instead of shadow IT, it's shadow AI. what AI is happening across the organizations, being used for what data is going into all of that. And the visibility of that is extremely challenging. So I think that's the next. While the CIO is worried about shadow IT, CISOs are worried about shadow AI.
And that sounds like a good new startup. Right?
Yeah, we're a new title.
Monitoring shadow AI.
Yes.
Shadow AI prevention.
Where do I get the money where do I get the money if I'm the CISO? Because most of these guys' budgets, they have enough money for the firewall and maybe,
it's real easy. You go up there and you scare the hell out of the board and the exec team about what's going to happen if they don't give you money to secure the AI. There's an AI arms race and we got a missile gap here.
Break out the FUD presentation.
Exactly. That's an old story.
Yeah, it is. Well worn past too, I'm sure.
Beauty and the Beast.
So let me accentuate that point. Mike, if I was in the CISO's role, I would be pushing on my supplier saying, I have to have this capability, but you have to bring it to me in a way that I can afford it.
You got to build it into what I already got from you.
Yeah, this is not tripling my budget to buy your latest fancy, what. I need this. It's the supplier that's going to help me be able to do more with the same people or less. That's who I need, because I'm not going to add products that require me to add more people. I can't afford to do that.
All right, I'm now shorting every cybersecurity stock because basically their costs are going to go up to make you happy, and nobody's going to make any extra money.
Well, a data point of one, so keep that in mind.
They'll make it up in volume.
Sunday.
Make it up in volume. Anyway, look, it certainly makes for interesting times. But again, we saw this, 2 weeks ago, Mitchell, at RSA. It was RSA AI.
It was. Funny thing happened on the way to RSAC. It became RSAI.
Yeah, I mean, it's the talk of the
But that's everywhere, Alan. I mean, it's every conference,
including Techstrong Gang. That's all we talk about over here.
Yes,
see the montage where they were showing different conferences and speakers, and everybody was AI. That was the topic.
It's crazy, but this is the world we're living in today.
It is.
Good, Look, for those of you, if you haven't played with like GPT-4o yet on the app and had a conversation with it, again, it's a little bit of a parlor trick. I don't know, Bonnie, if you've had a chance to play.
Are you kidding? I love it.
Mitchell, I think she's the new big fanboy here. She may have the AI-enabled devices before you and I.
She's the closet AI fan.
I got testing it and trying different things with the GPT and lots of different AI tools. I'm always playing around on them to see what we have.
Absolutely. I mean,
we love about you, Bonnie.
Yeah. Anyway, hey, I think that's going to make a wrap. We're on here for, this is over 45 minutes, which is about our normal Techstrong Gang. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Thursday. For those of you who don't know, right, Techstrong Gang's only one show on the Techstrong TV broadcast network. We're going to have a full day or at least a few hours, 3 or 4 hours more, of great content here on Techstrong TV, so stay tuned for that. We won't be on tomorrow, Friday, and then Monday is a holiday here in the U.S. It's actually Memorial Day, so I don't believe we're going to have our usual Monday AI show. We'll be back Tuesday with a fresh Techstrong Gang and fresh Techstrong TV, and we may do something next week to make sure you still get your 3 days of the gang. We don't want you to do without. So we're working on that behind the scenes with our producer and production staff. But until then, though, enjoy the rest of your Techstrong TV day. Bonnie, thank you. Mitchell, thank you. Mike, go have some great paella and tapas. We'll see you when you get back. This is Alan Schimmel. Thanks for watching Techstrong Gang.
Okay, I'm going to tell you a story about free tech or seemingly free tech, and it goes like this. Last month, I had the opportunity to go to Asia for the first time. I went to Thailand. And since I didn't know the language or the landscape, I brought a dedicated cell phone that I downloaded Gmail and Google Translate and Google Maps and Facebook onto. Then when I got to the Bangkok airport, I went to a cell phone provider's kiosk and I bought access to a 5G network for 2 weeks with the grand price of $20. That's just amazing. Think about all the technology I bought for $20. Anyway, about a week into the trip, I decided to go to the Grand Palace, and the Grand Palace is the place where the king lives when he's not someplace else on the planet. Now, I had no idea how to get to the Grand Palace, so I went to Google Maps, and Google Maps gave me a listing that included a bus that I could take to the Grand Palace, 1 hour drive. So I went to the bus stop, and I need to point out at this point, there are 3 types of buses in Bangkok. There's the EV air-conditioned bus, which you need because it's brutally hot in Bangkok. There's also the regular air-conditioned bus, which you need because it's brutally hot. And there are these old gas guzzler buses that spew carbon monoxide into the atmosphere and now are cooled by nothing more than open windows and fans. And as luck would have it, that's the bus I got on. So I'm on this rickety old bus, and I want to make sure I'm getting to the right place. So I pull out Google Maps, and Google Maps gives me a complete listing of every bus stop that I'm going to go through on my 1 hour journey. And not only does it show me every bus stop, it shows me when I arrive, when I leave, and what the next stop's going to be. And it also told me when to get off. So that's pretty amazing. Think about it. I'm on this rickety old bus, yet my cell phone's wired into this almost near future technology telling me where I'm going to go and where I'm going to get off. And not only does it know about this bus, I'm sure that Google knows about every bus in Bangkok, if not every bus on the planet where Google has service. It knows every bus stop everywhere. It's pretty amazing. And it knows I'm on that bus. So I wanted you to think about this. So back in the old days of the Soviet Union, Stalin would have given his firstborn for this type of surveillance technology. Surveilling a population in a country is really hard work. And the way Stalin did it is he had spies at every neighborhood. And they're actually neighbors spying on other neighbors, telling the government where people were going. That's how Stalin did it with no tech. And in modern tech, we just give it to Google to do. Google knows every place I'm going as long as I have a cell phone in my pocket. And how do I know this? Because Google is sending me a report at the end of the month that shows my entire travels for that month. And this month's report came, and guess what was on the report? My trip to Thailand. So Google knows where I'm going. Google knows where anybody who has a cell phone and is wired into Google Maps is going. And what's they doing with that information? You got me. And more importantly, how are they making money from that information? Because let's face it, there are only so many restaurants in Bangkok that need to advertise on Google Maps. Is it something to be concerned about? Yeah, I think it might be. But at the least, it's something worth thinking about.